Good morning, everyone. This morning we're going to have a lesson on exponent laws as a preview for what's coming up in the next section. So this really is stuff that you've done before. You would have done probably a tiny bit in grade 9 and built it up some more in grade 11, potentially there. Okay, so hopefully as we go through these, they'll look familiar. If you've ever wondered about those socks hanging in the back of my classroom, the exponent laws are written on those socks. It was a grade 9 project from a long time ago. Okay, so here's the first rule. So the product law says that if I have two variables or two exponents, right, so x to the power a times, I'm using a dot for multiply there, x to the power b, right, if I have two powers with the same base, I just add the exponents. Okay, so it's x to the a plus b. Okay, in terms of numbers, so again on the side I'll show it with numbers. Okay, that means if I had something like 3 to the 5 times 3 cubed, okay, I can really just add those exponents, okay, and it's 3 to the power of 8. I mean, when you think about what that means, right, 3 to the power of 5 means multiply 3 times in a row, and then 3 cubed is 3 times in a row, so basically I'm multiplying it 8 times in a row, okay, so that's why you can add the exponents. Okay, the second rule is quotient law. So if I divide powers, okay, and usually we see that as a fraction, so something like x to the a over x to the b. Okay, if I divide the powers, I'm going to subtract them. So it's x to the a minus b. Okay, so on the side here, if I had 3 to the 5 and if I divided it by 3 cubed, I would get 3 squared. Okay. Next rule is power to a power. So if I have something like x to the power a, and then I raise it to another exponent, b, okay, then I simply multiply those together. That is x to the ab. Okay, so using our same numbers again here, if I have 3 to the 5th, but then I cube that after, okay, I will get 3 to the power 15. That is 2 5 times 3. Okay, the other two aren't so much laws as special cases. Okay, for the exponent of 0, okay, so if I do x to the power 0, that is always equal to 1. Okay, and if you check on your calculator, you try pretty much any number, it will say that it's equal to 1. So that's just a rule. Okay, there's an exception. Again, this isn't super important for right now, but 0 to the 0 is the only exception to that rule. Okay, your calculator will probably give you an error when you do that. It might give you a 1. Okay, but it'll probably give you an error. Okay, but for anything else, like if it's 17 to the 0, it's 1. If it's 10 million to the 0, it's always going to be 1. Okay, and our last rule, okay, if I have a negative exponent, okay, I can rewrite that in terms of a positive exponent. So here's something like x to the negative power of a, that's equal to 1 over x to the positive a. Okay, so again on the side, if I had like 3 to the power of negative 5, okay, that's equal to the fraction 1 over 3 to the positive 5. Okay. Okay, so for example 1, I'm just going to put up 5 of those expressions, okay, and I'll put the whole thing up here, and then maybe this would be a good place to pause the video, wait like 2-3 minutes, let everyone simplify them, and then take them up. Okay, so here are the 5 things that I would like you to do. So again, maybe just pause the video here for a moment. Okay, back, and you're ready to fill these in. So the first one, okay, I'm 4 cubed times 4 to the power 5. Okay, we are multiplying the powers, so I add the exponents. So that is 4 to the power of 8. Okay, for 6 to the 5 divided by 6 squared, okay, we're dividing the powers, so I'm going to subtract. So that is 6 to the power of 3. Okay, for the next one, it's power to a power, so multiply. And I accidentally used a bunch of the same numbers, but that's okay. Right, that's 9 to the 15. Okay, 14 to the 0. Anything to 0 is 1. Okay, and 5 to the negative 3. Okay, that is 1 over 5 to the positive 3. Okay, now these all said simplify, right? It didn't say evaluate. Okay. If it had said evaluate, okay, then you would just basically take the next step and run it through your calculator. So like, for example, for B, if I said evaluate, I'd now go, what, 6 to the power 3 on my calculator, right? 6. And you probably have a button that might look something like this, or x to the y, okay? Or sometimes it looks like this is your power button. So you should get 216 when you do that. Okay. For the bottom one with the fraction, for 1 over 5 to the 3, okay, we leave the 1 alone. Okay, and then I just do what's 5 to the power 3, and it's 125. Okay, so yeah, if you're asked to evaluate, that means you would actually then do the exponent. But you always tidy it up with the laws first, and then evaluate after. Example 2, now we're going to use exponent laws with variables, okay, and then do some evaluating after. So we're going to simplify, and then evaluate each expression for x is equal to 3 and y is equal to negative 2. Okay, so here's my first one, 2x cubed times 3x to the negative 2. Okay, so when you're putting these together, and you've done this before through algebra, right, the key thing is here, for the numbers, right, I'm multiplying these two terms together. So for the number part, the 2 and the 3, I'm still going to just multiply. Okay, so 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, for the exponent part, this is where I have to use my exponent rule. I'm doing x cubed times x to the negative 2. So I have to add the exponents together. So in my head, I'm saying, okay, 3 plus negative 2, that's actually positive 1. So this is 6x to the power of 1. Okay. Now, we don't really need to write that power 1. That means it's just 6x. Okay, and now that I've got this simpler, now I'll go ahead and evaluate. So it said my x value is 3. So I'm going to plug in 3 for x. And the answer is 18. Okay, and that's done. So again, we're going to tie them up first and then plug in at the end. Okay, on to the next one. Here comes B. Okay, x to the 4y squared divided by x squared y to the minus 1. Okay, so we'll start with x, right? Again, I'm dividing a pair of powers, so the rule is I'm going to subtract. So x to the 4 divided by x squared is x squared, because 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay, for y, again, it's powers, so I have y squared subtract divided by y to the negative 1, so 2 subtract negative 1. Okay, that's going to come back to being positive 3. Okay. Okay, there's nothing to tidy up there, so now I'll substitute. Okay, x was equal to 3, so I have 3 squared, and y was equal to negative 2, and that's going to be cubed. Okay, so 3 squared is 9, negative 2 to the power 3 is negative 8, so this comes to negative 72. Okay. All right, our last one. Okay, when you have a whole bunch of them, basically you're trying to do some BEDMAS type stuff and do things in order. Okay, so because I have a fraction, I'm going to start by just tidying up the numerator. Okay, so again, we'll do the same process, right? I've got negative 3 times 4, so that's negative 12. Okay, I have x and x squared. When I multiply, I add the powers. Now, I don't see a power on x, but as we mentioned earlier, right, if I don't see it, the power is actually a 1 there, right? I have x to the 1 times x squared, so that means I have an x to the power of 3. Okay, and then for y, Okay, I have a 3 and a 4, so if I add those together, I get 7. So my numerator is 12 x cubed y to the power of 7. Okay, and the denominator is still the same. 6x cubed y to the 5. Okay, for my next step, okay, the fraction bar really means divide. So that means I'm dividing expressions. So we'll start that off. So 12 divided by 6, I should say negative 12 divided by 6 is negative 2. Okay, for x, I have x cubed divided by x cubed. So 3 minus 3, that's 0. Okay, and y to the 7 divided by y to the 5, that is y squared. Okay, so now we're ready to do our substituting part. So I've got negative 2. Now, when I look at the x, like, hold on a second, this is to the power of 0. Okay, so anything to the power of 0 is 1. So I don't really need to substitute. I'm just going to call that 1 because it was x to the power of 0. Okay, and then finally for y, I had negative 2. I'm going to square that. So I have negative 2 times 1 times negative 2 squared is 4. And then when I multiply all these together, I get negative 8. And that's done. Right. So that was your lightning pass. Nice little review of exponent laws, just on the basics, and a little bit in algebra. Okay. So for the rest of class, one of two things you can be doing. Okay, if you need some more practice with this skill. Okay, here's some recommended questions from the textbook. So we're going to use 349, so you can practice your exponent laws and algebra skills. Okay, the other thing, and I imagine some of you will be wanting to work on this because it's due tomorrow, is the assignment that you had work period for yesterday. So if you're not quite finished that, you could now start working on that and try to get it all finished. All right, and again, you need to hand that in tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and I will see you then.